Hey y'all, this is your host Garrett Pierce. I'm the owner of Northwest Trueshot, affiliated with several companies in the outdoor lifestyle. I want to thank you for listening to the Trueshot podcast today. I'm here to bring you everything I know about outdoor related topics. I want to help you create a great connection between us and build on each other's skills in the field and out at home. To keep us up to date, please follow us on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, please give us a like and subscribe on our YouTube page. All of our episodes will be posted there with visuals if you'd rather watch. I hope we can make your shot a true shot. And now, without further ado, here's the Trueshot podcast. Today's episode is a little bit different from last week. Here today is my father, Heath Pierce. He's going to be our guest for this week. We're going to talk stories, experiences, gear, and future hunts. I'd like to introduce him here now. Say hello.
Hello.
So today's podcast is a little bit different, like I said. We're going to be doing an interview style. This is our first time doing this, and I wanted to make it a little bit special, so I brought my dad on here. So we're just going to kind of go for it and shoot our shot.
Sounds good to me.
So let's start with a little about you and who you are.
Wow. Little about me. Spent many years in construction. Got exposed to hunting early in life. My family hunted all of the time. My dad and grandparents all hunted together as a family, and we did a lot of family trips. Mostly deer hunting was our big trips when I was younger, and then eventually involved into duck hunting as well as elk hunting. That was our family camps that we got to do. I mean, other things, I've got 3 wonderful kids. I've got a beautiful wife. Currently, we live in the valley in the Pleasant Hill, Dexter area. And it is obviously the Christmas season. We've got a wonderful time with our family for Christmas, and hope you and yours have as well.
Would agree. So now that we kind of got that into perspective, I got a few more questions. What do you do?
As far as work, life,
yeah. What do you do? What's your everyday look like?
My everyday.
What's your everyday normal day look like?
My everyday. Well, my work shift is. We obviously wake up in the morning. Lord willing, our feet hit the floor. We have a cup of coffee, and then typically my mornings start out pretty normal like everyone else's, except I work a later shift, so I usually don't go in till anywhere from noon to 1 o'clock, depending upon when my meetings are. So I work for a local college, and I manage the custodial team at night, and so that's my Monday through Friday. But obviously we all work hard so we can play harder on the weekend.
Yes, we do.
Which is either fishing, hunting, or some sort of outdoors activities.
Perfect. Do you enjoy your lifestyle?
Absolutely. I couldn't imagine. We've been very blessed to have both myself and my wife have wonderful jobs and careers, and then we also get the opportunity to spend time with our families as much as possible on the weekends. And obviously we go fishing and elk hunting as family groups, but yeah, no complaints at all with my life.
Well, yeah, you get all that vacation time,
Yeah, I do accrue a lot of vacation time.
Yeah, and what kind of place do you have with everything that you got?
What kind of place? We've been fortunate enough. We're on 5.5 acres. We raise our own beef. We've got a horse on the property. A great big barn that we've been able to store all of our stuff in. And as most people accrue when you're in your 50s, you have a few toys, so it's nice to have them safely tucked away under a roof and protected. So we're very blessed to have everything that we have.
Absolutely. So now that we know a little bit more about you, What got you started into hunting and the outdoor lifestyle?
So, like I said, my family, I grew up, that was our family trips, were really hunting trips. I started hunting with my dad. I remember following him in his footsteps, and I would try to step exactly where he did so that I didn't make noise when I was out in the woods. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to guess I was probably as early as 8, 9 years old when I started doing that. Obviously for deer. And then I can remember laying in our rock blind at Davis Lake that we had built. I can remember falling asleep in that at an early age before I could even shoot, falling asleep in snowstorms, and my dad would wake me up, and usually it was the sound of just before the shotgun went off, so it didn't scare me. So, great memories of that. That would be my earliest experiences of really getting to go hunting and not necessarily hunting. Right. I got to be a bird dog a few times over in Vail when I was really little, and again, not shooting, but just out stomping through the cornfields and knocking up pheasants for the family to shoot. That was some of my earliest experiences, to the hunting fields. Mm-hmm. Fishing was kind of the same thing. Obviously, I could catch fish, so that you didn't have to have be big enough to catch a gun or have a gun. So our families went salmon fishing a lot out of Winchester Bay. We actually had an uncle who commercial fished there, so usually the family knew where all the salmon were. So we were very successful, at catching a lot of salmon and a lot of Chinooks early on in life. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's pretty cool. At least Paco would warn you when he was going to shoot.
My dad was nice enough. He would let me know before I pulled the trigger.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we'll skip this discussion. I was going to ask what your first hunting experiences were. We definitely just covered those.
Well, kinda. Let's step to the next phase of me actually getting to hunt.
All right, let's dive into
that. So I can remember my first year with a deer tag, and I was not successful my first year getting one. I never did see one, but the next year I was fortunate enough to be sitting and have a buck walk out in front of me, and I can honestly say I had buck fever and missed on the first shot. I'm going to say about 35, 40 yards broadside with a scope. And the deer actually didn't know where the shot had came from, so he probably ran off about 75 yards. And when I put the next shell in, he heard that, stopped, looked at me, and must just say I was successful, and I harvested my first buck when I was 13 years old. Oh, wow. And I had both sets of my grandparents and my mom and dad in camp, and it was an awesome memory to have as a family.
That's pretty cool. That's a pretty good memory.
Yep, great memory. Mm-hmm. I also got the opportunity I can remember when I first got to shoot pheasants, we were over in Vail and got to go again with my dad and his dad, and then I also had my Uncle Rick. We got the opportunity to go to Vail and go hunting over for pheasants for, I want to say it was about a long 4-day long weekend. Yeah. That was a great hunting trip with lots of memories. I don't remember. I know we shot pheasants, but I can't honestly say if I actually killed one or not. But I know I poked a lot of holes in the sky.
Hey, sometimes you just got to poke a hole in the sky and get lucky.
You just got to get lucky. So, I don't know how much more detail as you want. I started elk hunting too pretty serious about 14 years old roughly. And over the years, I've been very fortunate and I've shot some with a rifle. I've gotten a elk with a bow, and I think I'm at 13 or 14 total in my hunting career so far. Mm-hmm. I've got the opportunity to hunt in Wyoming with my father-in-law over there, and we've packed in twice, and I've got a nice 5x6 out of Wyoming bull elk, and great memories. Looking forward to making many more with my own kids. It's just part of life.
Absolutely.
The joy of spending time with your family out in the outdoors is incredible.
Would definitely agree. That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. And obviously we've got a beautiful, set of ducks sitting here behind us on the walls that I got to be with Garrett on one of those when he shot it. So that was a real privilege. And then I got the privilege of hunting with my dad, getting exposed to duck and goose hunting. And then I also later hooked up with one of my really best friends over in Lakeview, Brett Smith, and we hunted together for years out in the Summer Lake area, and we're very successful there. And then ultimately, both him and I have kids, and we were able to introduce all of our kids into the sport that we love, and that was duck hunting and goose hunting.
Yes.
Ultimately, you get all your kids involved with duck, goose, and deer and elk and fishing for salmon. And let's just say we're extremely busy. There's not much of an off season.
We're a very busy outdoor lifestyle family. That's for sure.
That we are.
We go for about anything and everything we can.
About anything and everything.
Yep.
When I say kids, I mean even my daughter I've got the privilege to have watch all three of my kids shoot their first birds, and we were fortunate enough to have Drake, our black lab, retrieve all of my kids' first birds, and I've got the privilege to watch my wife shoot an elk, her first elk, and so it's in our blood. We all do it.
It definitely is.
Pretty serious.
Yeah, and in our first podcast, I talked a little bit about Drake getting all of our first birds and how that was something special, which kind of leads me off of the topic here. What does hunting mean to you? Because I talked about a little bit about that personally and what hunting meant to me, about the passion and the things that I have evolved as a person from it. Mm-hmm. And what has that done with you? What have your passions been with hunting? What has hunting done to help better you?
Absolutely. So for me, starting out as a kid, obviously it was our family time. That was, when my folks and my grandparents and everybody took time off, it was to go hunt or fish.
Almost like a reunion.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And that was your time to get together. I mean, we had aunts and uncles and everybody would go elk hunting.
Right.
So that was family time, and yes, we went hunting, but it was also the opportunity to encourage and develop more of that family relationship and bond. You didn't see everybody all the time, but you knew every year you were going hunting, deer hunting, elk hunting, and it was everybody going. But for me, I guess at one point it probably was more, my hunting experiences were more food. When you have 3 children and you're trying to raise a family that was, it wasn't necessarily hunting for big game as far as trophies. It was hunting for food to feed the family, whether it was ducks and geese and elk and deer. But then as I have matured, and I'm going to say I've gotten a little older, don't like to use that word, but none of us do. It's the quality of time with family. I could care less if I get anything anymore.
Yeah.
I got the opportunity to get our daughter out in the ocean this last year for the first time ever. And she got 2 salmon, and she only got to fish one day. We limited her out, but had a blast. And then ultimately had all 3 of our kids there fishing in the boat with us. But, it's that time together, whether it's fishing, hunting, even camping out in the woods. We have our favorite campsites that our family goes to, and we've been going to for years. Mm-hmm. And that opportunity to spend time together, whether it's hunting, fishing, or around a campfire, and be real with each other and create those laughing memories that everybody says, hey, what's that around the campfire stays around the campfire. Well, that's true in our family until we all get together, and then we relive those memories and all laugh again. And that's the joy of getting out and being able to do that with your family.
Pretty much nailed that one on the tee.
Yeah.
Did you have any family traditions while you're hunting? What traditions did you have while you're going out that we can talk about
that
here.
we can talk about. Family traditions. So, I mean, part of it was we used to always go over elk hunting, and we always drew the first season tag. Mm-hmm. So we always went over either Saturday or Sunday before the season started. And, you know, part of that was I got the privilege of getting, you know, this is obvious when I was younger, both my grandpas and my dad and uncle and my best friend, a couple of them in elk camp, and be able to, you know, laugh and giggle and to reminisce stories about, you know, the grandpas always told us stories about when they were younger shooting big game, you know, as far as bucks, and they wouldn't shoot anything unless it was a 4-point or bigger.
Right.
And nowadays we don't have that luxury. You know, we're fortunate enough to have any buck placed in front of us for an opportunity for a harvest. And these guys were so picky, they wouldn't shoot them unless they were big. And again, they were feeding their families, so they wanted something that was bigger.
Right.
You know, but there was a lot of bigger bucks back then. Now we have a lot more elk than we probably do deer, or that shift has definitely taken to elk's way more popular now than the deer hunting.
Absolutely. And so, to kind of go off topic with that, I know a lot of it has to do with the habitat changing. There has been numerous conservations out there that have been trying to help change the habitat for these animals. And if you aren't included in some sort of conservation, I would highly recommend it, just because it really truly does help the habitat with everything going on. Like Dad says, you know, the game has completely changed. Animals aren't as thriving and as flourished as they used to be. So that's just a major concern for a lot of us.
Yeah, it is.
Hunters and the new generation coming into it is not having anything to provide for our families and to look forward to every year. You know, it's a struggle for a lot of people, especially when you're trying to get new into hunting. It's definitely a game changer. So, what did you enjoy most about camping and hunting?
What do I enjoy the most?
Family time?
It's the family time.
Yeah.
It's the opportunity to, you know, go together, and I'm not going to say it forces people to go do it, but it's scheduled. So, you know, every year you're looking forward to the opportunities for all of us to go camping together and all of us hunt together. Mm-hmm. You know, that opportunity to and to be out in the woods, you guys. Yeah. I mean, I've been up at 9,200 feet over in Wyoming above the tree line and sat there, and I put my gun down and I just looked at all the mountaintops around me. Mm-hmm. And you realize how small and insignificant you are in this world, but yet you got to pause and take the beauty at which you're placed in front of you. It's incredible.
Yes, I would agree with that statement 100%. I know I've had the opportunity to do that, and it's the same experience. You just got to look at it and just take it all in. And
there's beauty everywhere, whether you're in the desert and you're out coyote hunting. Mm-hmm. You know, look at your surroundings and take that opportunity to realize what you're really sitting in. And whether you get anything or not, it's still that peace, that calm. Your cell phone's not ringing. Yeah, no offense to you guys. I hate cell phones, but the day I retire, that sucker's gone. So, but, you know, it's taking that opportunity to get away from the distractions and reprioritize what's important in your life.
Absolutely. It's something that's really hard for me to explain, is that feeling when you just know, you know, there's not too many people who've been here. And something that I don't know about you, but for me, that's something I strive to feel, especially elk hunting or deer hunting, you know, try and push the limit and be like, wow, you know, look, even I wouldn't say an unsuccessful, a hunt where you don't get anything, you still, my goal is to try and bring something out of that. And I think every single trip that I've had, I've been able to, look back at the memories and be like, wow, camp was awesome, or, this view was awesome. And there's a lot of things that in hunting allow the opportunity for that. And also fishing. I mean, when we're out on the ocean and the sun comes up over the hills, I mean, it's
beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's awesome. I mean, there's nothing that compares to it, for sure. So let's kind of get into the gear side of things. What kind of gear do you use? I know we're going on an archery hunt this year, and what are the things that you're planning on packing that are going to be, your major uses, per se?
Yeah, absolutely. So our archery hunt, we're actually looking at potentially doing an elk hunt as a family for the first time in several years, and be able to get everybody together. But yeah, no, it's making sure your bow's tuned up, making sure you got the right arrows and all your broadheads and stuff. And then I don't know about you guys, but I've got a whole tool kit that I take with extra parts for my bow, because you just never know.
Second release,
etc. So,